Okay, I'm Chris Pierce. Most of you know who I am. You know not. Most of you do. I've been around for about 16 years here in the district office. I used to work in accounts payable back since 1995, and then I moved upstairs and did Janet's job in the benefits for about 4 years, and then I started doing payroll in '04, I believe. So I've been doing payroll and retirement since '04. This is Janet.
I do the benefits. I've been in HR for 7 years. I worked in the admissions office starting out. Prior to that, I started with the college in 2000, so this is starting my 12th year. We're going to present to you today some overview of some benefits and leave and different retirement questions.
So our overview, we're going to talk about leave, personal, medical, educational leave, and FMLA, retirement, insurance, statutory plan, credit union, tax shelter annuities, and then any questions and answers. And you can ask as you go. You don't have to wait till the end, so maybe we'll know what you're talking about. For leave, full-time and part-time permanent employees working 1/2 or more are eligible for leave and holiday benefits as an administrative handbook. We all get medical, personal, and I don't know if you all know, but you do get educational leave that somebody can apply for if you want to work on your doctoral and if you take a sabbatical. And that's in the handbook as well if you wanted to know more about that. Family Medical Leave Act, that allows any benefit eligible employee who has been employed at least 12 months to be eligible for at least 12 weeks of paid or unpaid leave per rolling year. And we'll talk about that a little later, right? Retirement. We all know about PERS. We don't know what they're going to be doing. We all know that. We don't know what they're doing right now. Right now we contribute 9% and the college contributes 12.93. That was effective in January of 12. Just got a note the other day in July of 12, the college is going to pay 14.56%. 14.56
Is our percentage?
No. Right now it's not. It's still 9%. But according to the PERS regulation that I got the other day, starting in July, college is going to be kicking in even more. So that means more money the college is going to be having to pay out for everybody. And the college now, they have to pay that percentage on retirees. So when you see people who retired and they come back, work part-time, college is putting out that money on them as well. Now, they don't have to pay the 9%. They're just working for extra money. The college is putting up 14.26 or 12.93 right now. That's the website for PERS. If you ever need anything, it's a very useful website. They have calculators, so those of you who are getting close to retirement, if you're, you know how many years you got, how much leave you got, you can go in and put it in the formula, and it can give you an estimate of benefits. It can help you out there. It also has on there about retirement seminars. I went today and looked, and maybe a lot of people's going to be retiring this year again. We had a big year last year. From the phone calls I've been getting, I think I'm going to have another big year again because some of the seminars that are coming up pretty soon, they're already closed out. So I looked. If anybody's interested in a mid-career or a free retirement seminar, they have one in Long Beach on April 25th. You gonna go that one? And then they got one in Hattiesburg all the way in June, and then they don't have anything else. All the rest of them are closed out between now and April. So I guess everybody's trying to which makes me be very busy. And I just tell you about the vesting. It takes 4 years to be vested if you were hired before July of 07, and then 8 years if you were hired after 07. And if you were to leave state employment, you can get a refund. I highly do not recommend anybody to get a refund because you never know when you may want to come back to the state, and the little bit of money that you get in a refund is not worth having to pay it back. In 10 years or 12 years, you come back, and let's say you worked 3 years and you got back $3,000. 20 years from now, when you're thinking about retiring and you want to buy those 3 years back, that may cost you $15,000. So a lot of people don't think about that. They just want their money. They're never coming back to state, but we don't know what tomorrow holds. So sometimes we end up right where we say we're not going to be. And I've seen that happen a lot of times.
our health insurance to Blue Cross Blue Shield. For legacy employees, which is probably 90% of, well, not 90% anymore, but a good bit of our employees now. Those are employees who were hired before January 1 of 2006. We consider those legacy employees. This is the coverage for select. These are the rates here for select coverage. Your deductible for this is $1,000 per person or $2,000 per family. Your out-of-pocket expenses are listed there, $2,000 per person per year, or $4,000 per family for out-of-network providers. Open enrollment is in October of each year. At this time, you can change coverage. You can change from select to base, or you can pick up new coverage, and that'll be effective in January. And then there's a website listed there for any providers, if anybody's needing that information there. These are our Horizon Select, or employees who were hired with the state after January 1 of 2006. The rates there. Deductible is the same, $1,000 per year or $2,000 per family. The difference with the select and the base, or the select and the base coverage, with the select coverage you have a $75 prescription deductible. With the base you don't. So I would always recommend the select coverage for anybody. If somebody says, well, I don't know what I have or not, you can look at the rates here and they can tell. But the majority of the employees that we have the select coverage, which is the $1,000 deductible with $75 prescription coverage. Our wellness benefits, I know I used to send an email out to y'all every January saying, reminder, do your wellness benefits. They still recommend that you do that. It's not a requirement to obtain the benefits of that wellness visit. But you can still complete your health risk assessment online there at webmd.mississippi. And again, they're recommended but not required. These benefits are covered at 100% of your deductible or your allowable charges, and they're not subject to your deductible. And then again, the list of covered services is listed there, and it's different for everybody for your age. So what Reba's covered is not going to be necessarily what's mine covered or Princess, so it's just depending. So for a list of those covered services based on your age and gender, there's the website there. Prescriptions. This is only for the select coverage. Your $75 calendar year deductible, and then for generic drugs it's $12. Preferred brand or mid-brand is $40, and then other preferred brand is $65. We do offer mail order services. You can get a 90-day supply at the cost of a 60-day supply. So that is beneficial. And there's a website there for obtaining information on mail services. Emergency room copays. They started that this year. There's a $100 copay applied for an emergency room visit after your first emergency room visit in the calendar year. I guess people are going to the doctor, to the emergency room every time they sneeze, so now they're going to start charging more for that. Base coverage participants who met their deductible for the year will not be charged an emergency room copay. And then these are the deductibles, again, for the select coverage. $1,000 for in-network per calendar year individual, $2,000 for your family. Medical out-of-pocket is $2,500, and your prescription drugs is $75. Any questions on any of that? And then these are the deductibles for your base coverage. You have an $1,800 deductible for base, no prescription benefits until you've met that $1,800. $3,000 deductible for family coverage, and then your out-of-pocket is $2,500, $4,000 for out-of-network, and then $5,000 and $8,000 there for your family coverage. People look at their check and they say, what is Unum? What is Unum? This is life insurance. Life insurance through Unum is 2 times your salary with a max of $100,000. So if you make $55,000 per year, the max you're going to get on your life insurance is $100,000. Accidental benefits result in double indemnity, and then you can also get dependent coverage, which is $10,000 on your spouse and $5,000 on any of your dependent children, and that's only $5 per month.
No matter if you have one or two.
No matter if you have 1 or 10, yeah, or 1 or 2 husbands. All right, we also offer Cigna. This is available for you. This is in addition to your Unum life insurance. You can purchase up to an additional $100,000 for yourself, and the max for your spouse is $25,000. If you get 50 on you, you can get 25 on your spouse. If you get 10 on you, you can only get 5 on your spouse. So you can only get half of what you get on yourself or your spouse. And children will be covered up to age 21 or 25 as long as they're a full-time student, and that is at $1 for $10,000 worth of coverage. The monthly premiums are based on your age. They do increase every 5 years, based on your age. And the cost is per flat children, so if you have 15 children, it's only $1.
So it's $1 per 10,000?
And that's the max you can get is 10,000 on your children.
Oh,
But
how
yes.
about the 100,000 on yourself?
The 100,000 on yourself depends on your age.
Is that continued after the term?
No, it can be, but the rates increases and you're off the group benefits. Dental insurance, United Concordia is our carrier through for our dental insurance. The yearly deductible for that is $50. This covers exams and cleanings once every 6 months at 100%. Your basic services, which is fill-ins, root canals, simple extractions, things like that, are covered at 80% once you've made your $50 yearly deductible. Major services, the plan will pay 50% after you make your $50 deductible. And then your rates are listed here. You can pick this benefit up in November of each year also. Okay. Vision, always vision. This is our carrier for our vision insurance. They cover an eye exam once every 12 months. Your lenses are covered once every 12 months. Frames are covered once every 2 years. And then your contact lenses are covered once every 12 months. You can, for a list of your participating providers, there's a website or phone number there. And then your rates are listed there. And again, this can be picked up in November of each year, effective January.
Can we carry any of these with us when we leave?
You can take your dental with you as a retiree, and then you can take your vision with you as a retiree. Your life insurance for Unum, you can take, it'll come out of your purse check. The max that you can take with Unum is $50,000, and that's $60 a month for your Unum life insurance. You can continue your dependent coverage on Unum, which would just still be your $5 a month. With those benefits you can carry. Your vision, you can continue as long as it's bank draft. It comes directly. You have to fill out an authorization form. And we're doing something different with our dental through the college now also, so that'll be billed differently. The Aflac that we're going to talk about, you can continue it as well, and it'll just be direct billed to you from Aflac. This is a new policy that we just offered beginning in January. It has changed several times. Employee only is $26.90 for your Aflac cancer. This is anything above and beyond what Blue Cross won't cover. Okay, it'll cover in addition to that. And those are your rates there. Short-term and long-term disability, or as we call it in our office, STDs. Short-term disability. The low plan is if you make less than $1,500 a month. Most of these are for our janitorial services or smaller, lower staff employees. But these benefits are at $125 a week. They get this in addition to their salary if they have leave time accumulated. For the high plan, it's $32.80 a month for your deduction. That benefit is $350 a week in addition to your leave time if you have leave accumulated. If you get into an accident away from work, it begins paying on the first day of disability and will pay you up to 26 weeks. After 26 weeks, it goes into long-term disability for the same table benefits. Sickness benefits begins on the 8th day. And this benefit can be picked up at any time or dropped at any time. After-year enrollment. This is each year in November. This allows you to have all your insurance premiums come out of your check before taxes. We also offer medical reimbursement, which is just an estimate of your out-of-pocket expenses that you're going to spend for that year. So it comes out of your check before taxes. The max this year is $5,000. Next year, I think it's going to drop to $2,400 for the year. And medical or dependent care reimbursement works the same way as your medical reimbursement. This is for tax or child care.
Credit union. Everybody in here a member of the credit union? Pretty much. Should be. It only costs $1 to join and a $5 deposit. And it's located, we have someone on each campus. We have loan officers at the Jackson County campus, JD, and your loan officer here at the Perk campus is Danny Lawson, but you also know that Debbie Rogers works over. But now she works for the vice president of Perk, she's also over in Stone Hall. Usually sometime during the day and after hours. On Saturday, she's here as well for loans if you're interested. It's a $5 deposit, $1 membership fee, so it's $6. We do offer loans and savings, and most of you probably got an email recently. We're doing we've readjusted our rates because we're trying to compete. We weren't competing with like dealerships, because now they're like 0% financing for new cars for 5 years or whatever. So our board took a look at that, and they went back and revised our policy to say now for new cars, you can't go, if you qualify, credit-wise, debt ratio, you can get 2% financing on a new car, and for used cars, 3%. So everybody wants a new car, remember us at the credit union. I man the checkbook down in Darby Hall, so if you ever need some money, just give me a call or send me an email, and I have a little box outside my door, so if I'm not there, a lot of people put their mad money in there, they don't have to tell their spouse about, and I'll just throw my check in the little box out there, and they come by and pick it up, even if I'm not there. And I try to come in early, or I take it home with me, so not to use up my college time. I try to do a lot of that at home as well. So I'll write it at night and throw it in the box. So if you need that, just come see, like I say, Danny or Debbie Rogers or myself. We'll be glad to help you.
Tax shelter and annuities. These are for benefit eligible employees of the college. They're eligible to participate in the tax shelter and annuities. We have 4 different plans right now with Mississippi Deferred Comp, which everybody knows is just Deferred Comp, TIAA, CREF, VALIC, and ING. This allows you to defer some tax money, in addition to what comes out for your PERS. So this you can pick up anytime. You can just set up an agreement with each of these companies, tell them what you want to come out of your check per pay period, and they'll send me your form. Do you want to talk to them about retiring? Retiring, what you can do?
Oh, yeah. For anybody who's contemplating retirement, you have deferred comp. Especially faculty, when you all get ready to retire, you get a big chunk of money at the end of your contract, which if you're 9 month, it's May 15th. If you're 10 month, it's May 31st. But what you're going to get, if you're eligible, you'll get your 30-day leave payout at your hourly rate. Then you will get your deferred pay account out, which will be every bit of the money that you would have gotten paid all summer. So if you're a 9 month and your contract ends on May 15th, we still pay you for May 31, June 15th, June 30, July 15th, and July 31st, and August 15th. So you got a big pot of money sitting there. But once you sever employment to be retired, we have to pay you all that money out at one time. So I have people retiring sometimes with a gross check of about $27,000 to $30,000, depending on what they make. So some people who are in deferred comp, and they're already putting, say, $500 a month in there, they can set it up with deferred comp to say, hey, on my final check, I want to put a portion of that big $27,000 check, I want to put $10,000 in there. So what you would do, you would get with deferred comp, and you'll set it all up about, say if you're going to retire in May, you'll be doing it now with deferred comp. And they'll set all that up and send it to us, and in your final check, we will go in and make an adjustment to payroll to take out the $10,000, which saves you a lot of tax money, because out of that $27,000, you're going to get highly taxed, big time. See you over there, sorry. So anybody who's interested, when they get ready to retire and you got deferred comp, just kind of keep that in your mind. If you don't have to that big of money, but if you wanted to do an extra couple of thousand and defer, and these plans do have caps per year that you can put into that money. It's like $22,000, $26,000. More than I can afford, so there you go.
They offer an option that's, if you're older than 50, and then if you're working on retirement, they have a 50-plus year catch-up, is what they call it. So you can do more than what the allowable is that year if you fall into those circumstances. So that is available.
So, not a lot of people do that. I usually have maybe 1 to 2 people per year that will go ahead and put a lot of money into deferred comp. But they planned well financially, so they're prepared to do that. And your paycheck, everybody knows how that works. Everybody's email working okay on their paychecks? Everybody like that okay? Well, we did have a complaint. Yeah, somebody said, why do we send them so early? Why do we email them too early? I'm thinking, they would complain if you send them early, if you send them on payday.
I like knowing early.
I like too. I like knowing early because I am human and I do make mistakes. And if I make a mistake, I already knew about it last Thursday, I got almost a week to fix it. And then some people say, well, why do you run it so soon? Well, we do because the bank, Hancock Bank, which is the college bank, they have to have our money there 2 full business days before they put it in our accounts. So And then you never know about Banner, you never know the power, I mean, you just don't know. So I always try to schedule it, you know, way ahead of time. And now this time we had some bank issue stuff where they're trying some new program through the comptroller, so we had to run it even a day earlier. So when you get it a week early, just be glad you did.
Or don't open it with panic.
Yeah, so don't open your email. That's what I wanted to say. But you know, you're always going to have somebody's going to complain. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, that's what your check looks like. Most of you probably know how to read it, but if you don't, I'm going to go over a little bit with you. At the top is your location. That's your campus. Oh, I do. That's your deposit date, and of course, that's the amount that goes to the bank, and your name, and I think Dr. Stewart and Dr. Perkinston's here. Name, we took out the socials now. They got on to us about that, so we had to fix that. And that happens to be January 15th, the payroll number, that's your pay period. That's your direct deposit number. It means nothing to you. It means a lot to us because that tells me where you are in the process. That's your deposit amount again. This side is where I give you all your paycheck, and this is where Janet takes all your money away from you right here.
We work well together, so.
So, and you have your regular pay, and then some people have, like, if you're an AEOP, you'll have PSP, but PSP also is other things that we just categorized into PSP. It could be, like some of the dorm people, they have like a little side job or something. We just kind of cap all that into PSP. We just call it all that. And it's broken down. And if you have an adjunct pay, it may say AJH or I'm not really sure. AJG. You'll know because when you get it out here and it'll say $257.14, that's how much $1,800 is divided by 7. I know that. So if you see that, whatever your adjunct pay is, if it's $3,000 and you say, well, how long am I going to get this? When's this pay period in? Just divide it by the number that's out here. If it's $3,000 total that you sign your contract, divide it by what's here, you'll know how many pay periods out that is. And we did have some trouble once with pay periods ended in December and 31st and 15th. We go by whatever's on the contract. So
That's why I'm calling you now and say, how many are we gonna get?
Yeah.
Because we're budgeting.
And I don't care. I don't mind anybody ever call me because I do make mistakes sometimes. So I try not to, but it's like
What is that DB something on faculty?
DPA.
Yeah,
No, that's that like rule.
One or
Yeah.
something.
What that is, that's what I was telling you when you get ready to retire or leave in May, all the money that pays you through the summer, it's in an accrual account. So we don't really tell you what that is all during the year. But from the beginning of your contract, if you're 9 months starting on August 31st, if you make $40,000 a year and your paycheck is $1,200 a pay period, maybe it's supposed to be $2,000 a pay period, and we accrue $800 into that account.
Deferred pay.
Yeah, it's your deferred pay, and it goes into that account. It's kind of like a hidden little kitty. And then when your contract ends, that money, you start getting paid from this other pot of money.
Yeah.
It's all the
Okay.
same because it's out of other fiscal year, and it's kind of confusing. I'll be happy to break it down for anybody that ever wants to know.
So
It's
that
just-
we can get paid through the summer.
Right.
I got you.
Right, and a lot of people don't understand that. And when you're ready to leave, instead of saying DPA, you'll say DPO, deferred pay out.
Okay.
So you'll have a big chunk of money sitting there when you're ready to retire.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, Uncle Sam is brutal when it comes to that final check. It just is. And these are your deductions over here. This is AFLAC, that's your cancer policy. That's your vision, Blue Cross, deferred comp. That's that disability or short-term disability or STD or whatever we call it. F-tax. You know, people's like, well, what's that? Well, that's federal tax. That's FICA, that's Social Security. Number one question, what's this medical, this F-Med? Why do I have that?
I don't want to pay it.
I don't want to pay that. I didn't sign up for that. Well, yeah, you did. That's Medicare. But some people just don't understand that. That's part of Social Security, but they don't know what that stands for. PERS is retirement state tax. United Concordia is your dental, and Unum, as some people like to say, that's your life insurance. And these are your year-to-date totals. And some people get a little freaked out over here because come January, they're like, well, that's not right. especially with credit union, they say, I have more in my account. I'm like, no, that's what you put in today, not what you have in your account. This your checking account or savings, depending on where you put your money in and your bank. Again, this is what's going to your bank. That's your year-to-date gross, deposit date. Here's your leave, personal medical comp time. That's your filing status. If you ever say, gosh, you're not filing, married, one, single. It's right here. This person happens to be married and 0 for federal, and married and both working as state, them and their spouse.
What is United CO?
That's
Not
your-
been on.
Oh, I don't have that, that's why that's foreign to me.
Any questions on your paycheck? I'm sorry, it's not enough. I do what I can.
It's not my fault.
It's Janet's fault.
That's what she tells everybody when we introduce new hires. It's my fault, they're right.
I have a
But that's our fault.
question. Golly, I had a question and I said, no. Oh, about the health questionnaire. Is there a certain time we're supposed to do that every year? Because I got dinged this year. I went to the doctor before I filled it out and they won't pay it.
As
So,
long as they won't pay it.
Mm-mm.
That's supposed to have to
yeah, I went to the doctor before I filled out my health
You don't
questionnaire.
have to fill it out this year.
No, this was, no, it was 2010, so, I mean,
Okay.
2011.
They
so.
had been doing where if you went and you didn't fill out your health questionnaire, they would say, well, go fill it out,
I did.
and they still wouldn't pay it.
I had to write them a letter on mine, and they went back and paid it. I
Found
filled
a
mine out
bill.
like on January the 5th, and I went to the doctor on like the 8th,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't pay it. So I took the letter and sat down and wrote it and sent a copy of the bill, and even printed it out because I saved it on my computer where I filled it out, and they went back and paid it because they had the date on
Yeah, I mean, it was like 2 days later I did the same thing, Jane.
it. So I just put it on an envelope and sent it to them.
At one point, they were real lax and said that even if you went, then you could go back and redo it. Remember Sharon talking about saying that they would allow that, but they started getting kind of heavy on it, so
Yeah, it hit me up for about $150.
they can still try. I don't know if it'll do any good at this point.
September.
How much does it cost to carry our health insurance when we retire?
$463 for just you. No, wait, $432. I'm sorry.
432.
That's if you're not Medicare eligible.
And these are the folks that work in HR. You probably know Janet B. and Trudy. She does all our recruitment. When somebody wants a job, they go through Trudy. And she sets up the jobs, vacancies to the webmasters, put that out there. And able, she controls all of our HR money and the budget. And then Mr. Moore, he's our director. He does a little bit of everything. He does what we tell him. Just kidding, Glenn.
Any questions? Y'all breathe.
when people have a file in personnel because they want to work here, and it's all up to date, and a vacancy occurs, do they have to call in like to Trudy every time and say, okay, I saw on the website that such and such a vacancy's open, I'd like my application pulled for that?
You don't.
Or does she
No,
automatically?
we no longer automatically do
Okay.
because what was happening, and we used to do it that way when I first came to HR. But what was happening, she was applying, like all of y'all in this row was eligible to apply for secretary in admission. And we put all y'all in there, and then you didn't get the job, and you would get the letter, and then we're like, well, I didn't apply for a job. Why aren't you putting me in for a job? So some people get offended.
Okay.
So we just set it up, plus it was too much work. And you were going through this all the time on top of all your other work. So now we just make it a rule that if you want to apply for something, it's your responsibility to be looking out for it. If you want it, then you should have to apply for it. You go through Trudy via email or phone call.
She requires.
But
it,
if,
right?
so everything being in order, all you have to do is call her and say, I'm interested in that, please include my file?
Yeah, but keep in mind, if you're interested in another position and your application is 5 years old, don't consider that up to date. Because you may not get credit for some of that service from 5 years ago till today. So if you turn in an old application,
Yeah.
and especially for staff folks, they give you up to 7 years. Well, say turn in a 5-year application, you may only get credit for what you worked prior to that 5 years. So, and then people get upset because their pay is not what they thought it would be, and then they'll say, then they'll have to redo their application, you have to redo their salary, and it's just a big deal. So we try to tell everybody, if you're gonna apply, make sure your application, resumes, everything is up to date. Even if you did it last year, you've been working for a year, you've got another year of experience in there.
So don't even think about it, Missy, you're not going in.
No, I'm not asking a question for myself.
But you know,
I'm just generically interested. Call me curious.
You were telling me that we have to sit out 90 days. Does that affect the second 8 weeks of the fall semester?
how that works, if you are a staff person like me, and you retire June.
Well, faculties.
Okay, I'm gonna give you both.
15th.
I'm gonna give you both.
Okay.
You're a staff person, you retire June 30th. Now, it used to be 45 days PERS made you wait to come back to work for any state agency. Well, now they're saying, no, you're gonna wait 90. So for me, that's 90 calendar days, not work days, 90 from June 30. So that's sometime about mid-September or end of September, I can come back to work, maybe end of August. For faculty, it is 90 days from the beginning of the school year. So if school classes start on August 16th, you've got to count 90 days from that. Well, that's sometime over in November. Well, you've missed the whole semester pretty much, unless you're going to do a short term.
That's what I'm talking about.
November, December.
The short-term online classes.
You just have to count those days and make sure when you start, it's more, that it's 91 days or more. That's what they're making you do now. So most people, when they retire as a faculty, they'll just come back in the spring. They don't even work the fall. Yep, that's the new rule. And I don't know about all this 13th COLA check, what's going on.
Yeah.
None of us do, so. Even when we ask them, they're kind of thing. We have this, our field rep, he's just really, I think he's getting ready to retire, so maybe. I don't know. But we'll have a summer meeting this summer, so.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
There's a reason why he's retired.
Yeah, really, I know.
I think it's retired in December, so we'll be for a year.
Anybody else have any questions? We got some people in here, elders retired. Well, you probably do have the years though, don't you?
I don't know.
Yes, you do, you do.
Not committed.
You do, you do. Well, I mean, yeah, but a lot of y'all.
I have about 23.
Well, I don't, I got.
I got the
This,
rest of my life.
we signed up with the retirement seminar. That's just a pretty seminar, right?
All the, what they're gonna have there, PERS will be there, the FERCOP will be there, Social Security will be there, some attorney for estate planning, they'll be there, it's like an all-day thing.
Right.
It's very beneficial, if you're gonna go, yeah, you should go. I would, I went one year just to see what
That's
it's
what I
all
want to
about.
I'm undecided what I'm going to do. Okay, I just want to get more input to make a decision.
Yeah, and if you're gonna if you plan on retiring ever, and you're planning on May or June, just give me a call about February, March, we'll start looking at your leave and your paperwork, and then go from there. They, first says 3 months in advance, but you don't have to wait 3 months, and then you can do a little later if you want to, if you're undecided.
Did you say that there were some pre-retirement ones still open? I know
There
you said
is, and
some
I wrote them
Like
down
maybe
on my.
one in Hattiesburg in June?
Yeah, there's one June the 6th in Hattiesburg, and then there's one in Long Beach, on April 25th. Yeah, I looked them up today before I came.
When you
I
retire,
just want to see what all those, elderly people are gonna be doing.
And another thing, whenever, if you want to retire, and I just want to tell y'all this for peace of mind, I pride myself on confidentiality. If someone calls me, what?
Thank God.
Yeah, really. Now, if someone calls me and they say, okay, do not say a word, I want to retire, I do not want anybody to know, will you work my paperwork up and talk to me about my leave? Yes, I will. And I don't even share that with my employees in my office. I will hide your stuff under the biggest pile of junk I got in my
She has
office.
enough of it.
So as to not say anything, because I've had people come to me and ask for me to do their paperwork, and I don't say anything, and then sometimes my boss is like, well, you didn't tell me. I'm like, well, they asked me not to, and they turn in their paperwork to their boss under the door on the Friday before they're gonna leave. And I don't agree with that. I don't think you should do that. I think you should tell your boss and plenty of times so they can, rehire your position. But I do want you to know, if you want to retire, and you want me to figure up your stuff, I'm not gonna tell anybody. I'm not gonna share that with Susie. She says she wants to retire in June. Can you believe that? No, I'm not gonna do that. But I just want y'all to know.
How many hours of personal leave can you put towards this, towards your retirement?
Well, you can go way up. They have several years worth. Like
Personal or medical?
combined. You can combine. Now, for personal leave, we pay out 30 days when you retire. That's the max you're going to get. You get paid no medical, but you can take all your personal and all your medical and add them together and send that all to PERS.
Okay, so you-
But and everybody's a little different. So there's different categories. 15 days to 77 days is a quarter. 78 days is a half a year. 141 is 3/4.
I think fixing to
178.
change the.
All right, now slow down and do that again.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, 15 days, just remember that, is a quarter. 78 days is a half a year. 141 days is 3/4. 204 is a year. After that, I kind of lose it because
If you go to the website.
it's all there.
That is
Yeah.
everything. I was
Yeah.
so impressed with that
Yeah.
website because everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
When you get ready to retire, just know that if you want to keep your health insurance, you have to pay a premium in advance. And then also for your life insurance, you'll have to write a check and pay a premium in advance for that also. But then after your first month, then it'll start coming out of your retirement check. If you allow enough time in advance for that to start coming out, if not, they may bill you for another month.
Do you have a ballpark figure when you say that you get your lump sum that covers your summer months and stuff like that, and then you said it's hit hard as the taxes? Do you have a ballpark percentage of how hard it's hit?
Probably about 35%. Probably.
They take about 30.
Well, not for federal, it's probably about 25%, but then you've got PERS is 9%, then you got FICA is, 4.2, and then Medicare is 1.45, so, and then you got your state, so when you add all that up, it probably does come to about 35 to 40. Yeah. Not just on federal, federal's probably a flat about 25, I think, including my last year.
So if you took that and dumped it into like deferred comp, would that be pre-tax, or would they not be able to touch that until you started pulling that?
True.
Right.
That's true, and that's why some people do it, because they know they're gonna get all this money. See, they're gonna get their retirement check June 1, and they're retiring in May. Well, they got all this money, their retirement check may be more than their salary that they've been earning, or maybe a little less. And they've already kind of planned for that, so they just take all that lump sum of money and put it in deferred comp, so they'll not pay taxes on all that.
if you retire from service,
And then I think
it's your first time.
July 1. It's always the first day of the month after you say you're retired. If you retire, if you retire June 1, you're gonna get paid June 1. And if it, so, I mean, if you end on May 31 or May 15th, your first check is gonna be June 1. If you retire June 30, it's gonna be July 1. Or if you retire in December, it's gonna be January 1. If it falls on a holiday, you'll get it on the Friday before. And there's no state tax comes out of your PERS. You do not pay state tax on PERS, on your PERS check. When you get ready to retire, there's a lot more goes into retirement than I'm talking on today, because everybody's different. Some people have leave, some people don't have leave. So just, everybody's a little bit different.
Jan, I never have time to stop and talk to those deferred comp people. Do you have any paperwork that you can send?
All you have to do is follow your 800 numbers on that spreadsheet. There's not any actual paperwork. No.
Okay.
They kind of took us out of that. We're kind of like the middleman on that.
Can you stop taking deferred comp out of your check at any time?
Yes, you just have to notify. You can notify me and I'll send a termination notification to them. Okay.
And what happens if you're not gonna retire? What happens with the money you've left in deferred comp? Can you then roll it into like a a Roth account? Or does it have to stay there until you retire for their?
You can roll it into something. It depends on what company you're wanting to roll it into, what their standards.
Do you have any control over it, or does deferred comp tell you what you can do with your money? So if I cease to want to participate in deferred comp, but I want to continue to work, can I draw out what I've put in deferred comp?
Not to terminate employment.
But I can roll it into another account outside of deferred comp that's nothing to do with deferred
If
comp.
it's a direct rollover, I don't think there's any taxes, but if it's an indirect where they write you a check and then you turn that check over, then they tax you whenever you draw that out.
Just to be clear, I'm terminating completely with deferred comp. I don't want
Yes.
anything to do with
Yes.
deferred comp.
Yes.
I can do that, even though I'm not separating
Right.
employment.
That's right.
I didn't know I could do that.
You can stop it at any time. It's a voluntary payroll deduction. Yeah.
I mean, as far as taking my money out of it, if I'm continuing
It's
to
up to
work.
whatever company you're gonna move it into. I mean, you can't draw your check out of deferred comp
But I can
until
move
you're
it
terminated,
into,
but you can move it into a different company.
with my local bank.
It just depends on whatever their rules are.
Move somebody.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it. If it's an indirect rollover, where they write you a check and you take money out of it and then put the rest over here, then, well, you can't do that until you sever employment, then you're gonna get taxed. But if it's a direct rollover, you can do that while you're still employed.
And completely shut it down with deferred comp.
We have an information sharing agreement that we have to do with all of our annuities and things. So what they'll probably do is the company that you're wanting to move it to will send me a form, and then I'll have to complete it saying that you've ceased all your deductions and all that. And then Glenn has to sign it, and then we send it on. It's just, you can't sever any of those voluntary payroll deductions like that.
Otherwise, with the deferred comp, if the money stays there only until you're terminated, you can't leave it after that, you
You
have to
can
roll
leave it
it?
there. No, you can't touch it until
Oh,
you're
okay.
terminated.
Okay.
Like it's
Except
Sheree
to
is still
move it.
employed unless it's still you're not touching, I mean, you're not, it's just a
Right.
rollover right into that account. But you can't receive any of that money until you're terminated, period. Whether you quit, retire, whatever the case may be, you can't draw any of that out. That's all they do, it's not the story.
I knew that I could quit. I was pretty sure I could quit because it's a voluntary deduction, but I didn't know what happened to it. If I could move it out of deferred comp and sever my contract with them completely and still be employed.
And another thing, whenever you do retire, you don't have to put that lump sum into any of those. I had a guy retire last summer, a faculty member, he opened up an IRA in his bank. They just rolled it into that, so you don't have to defer comp, you put that lump sum in there.
And they have to be a payroll deduction, for it to come out of their check and go straight into it.
I don't think so. I can't think who it was,
Yeah,
but he
I know
did
who you're
one at like Navigator or something, and that's what he put his.
It just came out of his account, straight into it.
I think so. That was an unusual situation, but it worked
I
out.
read an article, if you move it into an IRA Roth account, you don't have to pay any taxes on it. So, do you know if that's true?
I don't.
I cut the article out and I'm gonna research it more. I
I
don't,
need some names to talk to that are some financial advisors. I mean, like Chris said, we're kind of the middleman on it. You know, you set up your agreement with whatever company you're wanting to put your money in. You set up however you want it to be varied, high risk, low risk, moderate, however. And then they send me your form says this is how much they want per pay period. Period. That's all we do with it really. And we don't have any kind of
I realize that.
but I do have some names.
I don't have a lot in it at all by any means. What little I did have, I wanted to put it somewhere
Let it
where I
grow.
wouldn't continue to lose because I worked with deferred comp and thought I had it all in fixed assets, but then I learn every time I get a statement, I'm still losing money and it's dwindling. So I wanted to get it out of there and put it in something that I wouldn't lose anymore. And some of the things I read that when you move it, you pay taxes on it when you move it, and you pay taxes on it when you take it out. But they said with the IRA Roth, you don't have to pay taxes on it when
You do a direct roll.
Yeah, so I just wondered if you knew anything about that.
I remember Brian Miller talking about, he's with Valley, and he talks about a lot of the Roth, Rutherford Roth, and different things. I
not a lot to anybody else, but it is to me.
Sure, in here,
Yeah.
if you wanna write this number down, sure, it's 228. 216
We've always heard that time retires June, is that true?
Well, depending on your 13th check, that's the reason why they say June,
What is it
because
again?
what happens, you have to be retired one full fiscal year to get your check. So let's say you retire June 30 of 12, you're gonna get your 13th check December of 13. But if you say, well, I'm not retiring in June, I'm gonna retire in December, well, you're gonna wait till December of 14 to get your check, because you went into the next fiscal year. So that's why they say that. Any other questions? That's all we have.
Thank y'all.
Thank